لحظة sorry. They have the same working principle as regular capacitor, but with double layer structure. Supercapacitor can be a better choice than batteries in some specific application. They are normally used when energy exchange is frequent or when a burst of energy is needed. Its performance bridges the gap between regular capacitors and conventional batteries. Supercapacitors, just like batteries, rely on electrochemical reactions to store energy, but they function via the physical movement of ions and not chemical reactions. As a simplified cross-section of a supercapacitor can be seen in this figure. They contain two identical carbon electrodes separated by a separator. Both electrodes are externally connected to aluminum current collectors. The figure here shows a fully discharged supercapacitor on the left and a fully charged supercapacitor on the right. To charge supercapacitor, the positive and negative terminals should be connected to an energy source. After a short time, the positive and negative electrode become positively and negatively charged respectively. An electrical field is generated around both electrodes. This field attracts ions of the opposite charge of every electrode. The attracted ions on each side adsorb to the electrode surface, which forms an intense electric field that holds the ions. This intense field is the stored electrical potential energy of supercapacitor. As for the discharging operation of supercapacitors, it works by simply sending electrons from the negative electrode to the load. For every electron that leaves the negative electrode, an excess of positive ions will be generated on the electrolyte interface. This positive ion will be repelled by the other positive ions to return to the neutral state of charge. One limitation of this concept is that the size of supercapacitor is limited by the surface area of contact between the electrode and the electrolyte. This limitation makes the energy density per unit mass for the supercapacitor much smaller than that of batteries. But the electric field that bonds electrodes to the ions can be rapidly broken, which is why the power flow density of the supercapacitors is always very high. Now I will introduce and discuss the different types of supercapacitor. We can categorize supercapacitors based on two divisions. It can be either based on the working mechanism or on the structure. We can define three types of supercapacitor based on their working mechanism. This is electrical double-layered capacitor, EDLC, or pseudocapacitor, and finally hybrid supercapacitor. Here we can see the three mentioned types. First, EDLC is shown in figure A, store energy electrostatically using a charge separation concept. Second, pseudocapacitor shown in figure B, store energy electrochemically by transferring charge between electrode and electrolyte. And finally, hybrid supercapacitor shown in figure C are a combination of EDLCs and pseudocapacitors. So the energy is stored electrostatically and electrochemically at the same time. We can also define another two categories of supercapacitors based on their structure, and that is symmetric or asymmetric. Symmetric supercapacitor uses two identical electrodes, whereas an asymmetric one have different material for its electrodes. The electrode in a symmetric supercapacitor are made using carbon. As for the asymmetric supercapacitor, they have one metal oxide for the positive electrode and a carbon for the negative electrode. This configuration is attractive to achieve higher and better power densities. Various researches proved that on average, asymmetric supercapacitors are superior to the symmetric supercapacitors. This is mainly due to the flexibility in selecting the material for the second electrode. Asymmetric supercapacitor achieved higher power density, and as you can see in this graph, it achieved also lower voltage degradation than symmetric supercapacitor, which means it had a superior performance. One key concept in understanding the importance of supercapacitor is to rely on distinguishing between power density and energy density. The power density is the flow rate at which an energy storage can charge or discharge, and this is expressed in watt. But energy density is the amount of power an energy storage can hold, and it's expressed in watt-hour. In this figure, batteries are illustrated as a bottleneck gallon, whereas supercapacitors are illustrated as a bucket. The gallon, just like battery, can supply a limited slow flow of energy because of its bottleneck. The bottleneck represents the diffusion factor of chemical reactions in batteries. So it is focused to pour water at a controlled rate for a long time, just like batteries. In case of the bucket, the water flow is much stronger because there isn't a bottleneck to limit it. Just like supercapacitor have no chemical reactions, but the bucket will also run out of water much faster than the gallon, also like supercapacitor. Here we compare the average value for the main performance characteristics of supercapacitors to those of regular capacitors and lithium-ion batteries. I want to note that supercapacitor is 360 times faster than normal batteries in charging, and its lifetime is 1,000 times longer. However, it is around 20 times more expensive per watt hour. The power density is normally very low, which means it's not a lot expensive. But if I wanted to scale up, it's nearly impossible. From the previous table, I prepared a qualitative comparison between batteries and supercapacitors. The result is shown in this table. To help visualize the numbers better, this comparison focuses on the batteries and supercapacitor only, since this is the scope of this presentation. This could easily help determine the advantages of each device over the other, which will eventually help us find the optimal application for every device. Supercapacitors have many applications in today's world, like automobiles, electrical vehicles, trains and elevators, camera flashes, etc. Manufacturers are making use of the supercapacitors' advantages to make their electrical devices more efficient. This means it is being used for specific application that requires a strong but limited burst of energy or fast charge and discharge cycle. In electrical vehicles, supercapacitors are being used in the regenerative braking system. It's a concept that helps EVs conserve energy and run more efficiently. The main purpose is to convert the residual kinetic energy of the EV back to electrical energy instead of wasting it as heat during normal braking. Supercapacitor stores this converted energy and give it back as soon as the system needs it. Using supercapacitor for this concept allowed manufacturers to reduce the size of batteries, elongate their lifespan, and increase the efficiency of the whole system. It is being applied in EVs like Toyota TS040, hybrid LMP1, Honda FCX, Mazda iLoop, which is the one seen in this figure. Other applications of supercapacitor make use of the energy burst characteristic. Such as elevator systems or camera flash are good examples of such applications. Now we will introduce the key to unleash the full potential of supercapacitor, which is graphene. This graphene has been nicknamed by many the wonder material of the 21st century because of its exceptional properties. Scientifically, graphene is a single atom layer of pure carbon atoms bonded by sp2 bonds with a structure of hexagonal lattice pattern. Graphene have a thickness of 0.345 nanometer, which makes it the thinnest material ever known to exist. It was first isolated in 2004. It was done by pulling one atom layer of graphite using normal Scotch tape as shown in this figure. The honeycomb structure shown in this figure is adopted by the carbon atoms in graphene. This structure makes a one atom thick sheet the strongest material ever known. Graphene is actually 40 times stronger than diamond. All recent studies claim that graphene is the new and improved silicon and that it will revolutionize the world as we know it. It is expected to have great applications in bulletproof armor, enhanced concrete, enhanced asphalt, enhanced steel, and many more. Graphene is also promising for electrical applications due to its exceptional electrical properties. The Wonder Material nickname is well-deserved title for various reasons. First of all, graphene is a better conductor than all other known materials. It is also very resistant, unbreakable, flexible, and transparent. Graphene's application in the electrical fields include next generation electronics such as transistors, semiconductors, resistors, and many more. With graphene, we can actually build bendable, unbreakable phones, laptops, tablets, and many more. In fact, multiple companies around the world have presented fully bendable smartphones prototype. Not only that, companies in China, as shown in the figure, actually started selling such smartphones. Samsung is even advertising for a coming soon smartphone with graphene enhanced battery. They called it graphene ball batteries. According to Samsung, this battery should charge 5 times faster and last longer. It is a lithium-ion battery where its anodes and cathodes are coated with graphene ball that will enhance its performance significantly. So back to our main topic, graphene is also expected to unlock a new realm of applications for supercapacitors. Graphene-enhanced supercapacitors are expected to have a competitive energy density while also keeping its immense power capabilities. Graphene is set to replace activated carbon in supercapacitors due to high relative surface area, which unlocks higher energy density, since supercapacitor depends mainly on the contact between electrode and electrolyte. By increasing this contact surface, the energy density increases as well. A recent breakthrough created a 3D printed graphene aerogel scaffold and used it to build a supercapacitor. They fabricated the electrode of a pseudocapacitor out with graphene. This helped them pack a way more energy storage into a small area. With the Wonder Material, supercapacitor may eventually actually replace batteries in most applications. So to sum up, this presentation provided a comprehensive review of various aspects of supercapacitors. We mentioned that supercapacitors can be found in different commercial products in today's market. They are being used currently as a complementary component to batteries, which means it only takes some load of batteries since today's capacitors suffer from low energy. Today's supercapacitors suffer from very low energy density. However, as mentioned earlier, this isn't the case for graphene-enhanced supercapacitors. Manufacturers know that those supercapacitors will take over lithium-ion batteries in most applications. It's just a matter of time. However, there is no straight path from here to there. There are only important incremental updates and breakthroughs that are being made along the way. It may take few years of research, but we know that the contribution of supercapacitor in the power system will continue on increasing. Thank you, and I can take your questions.
Thank you, Haider. Can you go please to the beginning and move down with the slides?
Yes.
Okay, can you please, in previous slide, can you please explain more in detail these phases?
The
Next,
what do you mean?
next slide.
This
8.
you want me to explain the figures?
So how this what is happening during this charging discharging
Okay.
phases in detail?
Okay. So on I will start talking about the left side of here. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, your cursor? No.
Yes. لحظة. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. I start talking about the left side of the supercapacitor. It's the negative electrode. Whenever I connect it to an energy source whenever it's connected to an energy source, the electrode is negatively charged. So this electrode attracts the whole ions that are in the body of the supercapacitors. Those ions are absorbed into the electrode. They stick to the electrode just by pure electrostatic energy. And whenever all of them are stick to the electrode, the supercapacitor becomes fully charged, as seen on the right figure here. And this happens also on the right side of the supercapacitor, but for the positive electrode. Does this answer your question? Doctor?
Haidar, do you hear me now?
Now I hear you.
Yes, I was hearing your answer, but I was muted. This is why I couldn't reply. Okay, yes, it's fine. Can you move down, please?
Yes.
Okay, please talk more about these types. Previous slide.
Yes, this.
Previous, yes.
Okay.
Yes, give me more details about these types.
Yes. Those three different types, we have EDLC, we have pseudo-capacitor, and we have hybrid capacitor. The first one is the one that yes, the first one is the one that I discussed most in this presentation. It's the one that charges electrostatically. As I discussed in the previous figure, the ions adsorb to the surface of the anode, and it remains, it sticks to it until I need to charge from it. So it's just like the figure before. The pseudocapacitor is more of a chemical reaction, a slight chemical reaction that happens. As you can see in the figure, we have hydrogen transfer. It's a ion transferred between the anode and the electrolyte. This hydrogen is what enables the chemical reaction to go through. But what's special about it is that this chemical reaction have a very low very, very high transfer factor. So it doesn't need a lot of time. Unlike batteries, doesn't need a lot of time to happen. But the energy is stored electrochemically in this part. And for the hybrid supercapacitor, the most I could find out about it, that it's a combination of both. It's a combination of electrostatically and electrochemically. So what I understood is that there is a chemical reaction going in there, but on the anode side, the ions also absorb into the electrode surface, but not on both sides. So there is a chemical reaction, but not on both sides. There is adsorption, which is why it's called hybrid, because it's from both.
Okay, Haider, thank you so much.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.